how to be happy in your 20s. Welcome back to the Quarter Life Baker. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that I feel if you are following along with my channel, you're more than likely felt this feeling before. This feeling of angst, of loneliness, of directionlessness, if that's a word. And I just wanted to talk about how to be happy in your 20s, how to set yourself up for success and happiness in your 30s and 40s, and what you can do now to kind of reevaluate your life and redefine your outlook. I'm just going to be talking over me making a lemon tart. The recipe is in the description below if you did want to follow along. It came out pretty well. I'd probably use a little bit less lemon this time around, or next time around, I should say. But yeah, please feel free to follow along. It was a pretty decent crowd pleaser at a dinner party. So getting into the topic at hand, how to be happy in your 20s. Now, if you are following along with this channel, you'll know that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a computer scientist, I'm not a pro Olympian by any stretch of the imagination. But I do feel like I've got my pro card in being happy. I'm 25 years old and I've gone through the majority of my life with a very happy and positive outlook. And I feel like a lot of people in their 20s may be going through a quarter life crisis or feeling a little bit lost or comparing yourself to your peers. There's a very high chance that you're not feeling happy in your 20s. And that's okay. I think the key to realizing and the key to being happy in your 20s and, throughout the rest of your life is realizing that you won't always be happy. I'm a pretty happy guy, both intrinsically and extrinsically. I've gone through my fair share of personal experiences where, not so great things have happened. People have disrespected me or my friends, my family. And I'm not going to get into the business of comparing tragedies. I feel like that's never a healthy conversation. But I've gone through my fair share, I like to think, and I've come at the other end a relatively happy guy. Having a happy spin on life really does make you the wealthiest person in the room, in my personal opinion. So getting into the topic, how to be happy in your 20s. It's like I said before, realizing that you won't always be happy is the key. If you put so much pressure on yourself to always be the happiest person in the room, always be the one that, something bad happens, but, you hide your emotions, you mask your emotions. That's not happiness. Happiness isn't pretending to be happy and then being happy. That can be one element of it. But happiness is realizing that you're in a happy state of mind now, that you weren't in a happy state of mind before. Maybe that was a week ago, maybe that was a couple of hours ago. And realizing that this state is temporary, that you're not going to be tremendously sad forever. And likewise, you're not going to be tremendously happy forever. I think striving to be happy most of the time, on average, is always a better goal than, I'm going to be happy. I have to be happy. That'll never be the case. You'll meet a lot of people who say, I'm an optimist, I'm a pessimist, I'm a whatever you want to call it. But I don't actually agree with that. I don't think any person is really a true optimist or a true pessimist. I think we exhibit qualities where maybe you'll look at situations immediately more optimistically or pessimistically, whatever. But it's a choice at the end of the day. If someone disrespects you at work or your partner says something that, you don't necessarily believe in, what they've said doesn't matter at all when it comes to your happiness. You have the choice to look at it positively or negatively. Everybody has the ability to be happy and to be sad. And I think that's also the case for people who do suffer from mental illnesses. And I bet if you do speak to someone who's facing depression or anxiety or bipolar or whatever it may be, they'll realize that happiness is always a choice. And by that metric, being sad and wallowing in self-pity or despair, that's also a choice. So what kind of choice are you going to make? The next time that someone disrespects you or the next time a negative situation comes to you, it's not a matter of, something tragic's just happened and my car's just broken down and I've got no money to pay for it. I'm just going to be happy. there's a time and a place to be happy. There's a time and a place to be sad. But overall, what option are you going to choose? My opinion is always get out what you need to get out. Cry, vent, yell, scream, whatever. Don't be physically violent or, do anything illegal, obviously. But do what you need to do to get it out and then start looking at it positively. And I feel like just by doing that, you'll feel tremendously better. It'll reshape the situation that you are in and make it a lot more manageable, a lot more digestible. And in so doing, you're setting that habit of being happy, and that will serve you incredibly well as you go through the rest of your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. So realizing that is incredibly important. And I suppose the one piece of advice that I've heard from other people, so this isn't me, I won't pretend that I've coined this, but making your average day better is instrumental. And it sounds silly, but for example, if getting up in the morning is always a big hassle for you because it's really cold at your place, or you have to do certain things in the morning in order to set your day up properly, by doing maybe timing the heater to come on a bit earlier, or by setting things up the night before, so when you wake up, everything's done for you. You start your morning off well. By making your bed every morning, that sets your morning off well. One thing for me, and it sounds silly, is the underpants that I used to wear was always uncomfortable. So instead I invested in some actual decent pairs of underpants, and because of that, on average, my day just felt better. I felt more comfortable, I felt more free, and in so doing made me 1% happier. Now, I'm not saying go and change your underwear and you'll feel 10 times better, because you won't. The key there is that 1%. And if you understand compound interest, which is essentially small bits of change compounded over the course of, several weeks, months, years, whatever, amounts to, extraordinary wealth, that still applies for happiness. A 1% increase in your happiness every day won't just be 365% by the end of the year. It'll be an astronomical number. And it starts by, changing your underpants. It starts by making your day, your average day, better. Because whether we like it or not, we see these things in TV shows and movies where, we're going on huge trips and huge adventures, but the average day of your life is how your partner greets you when you come home, how you log on to work if you work from home, how you drive into the office if you go into the office, how you show up for your kids, how you show up for your friends, how you meet them, how you greet them. That happens hundreds, if not thousands of times across the course of your life. So getting that stuff right will just by average and, will make your day immensely better. That's a key thing. That if you take anything from this video, make your average day better. The next is having goals, but keeping them at a distance. Now, not a physical distance, more so a mental distance. Having goals, depending on the kind of person you are, can be great, but it can also be destructive. If your goal is to write a book because you love writing and you set yourself the goal of writing a book, that's great. And hopefully eventually you do write the book and you publish, and hopefully you find some success from that. But if you set yourself the goal and you look at it too much, and you put too much emphasis on the goal itself, not of the act of writing, and you set yourself the goal of, I want to write a book in 100 days. That 100th day, when you do finish the book, that's 1%. The 99 days before that of you writing are going to be miserable. You're putting too much pressure on yourself to, pursue a goal, restrict yourself too much on a timeline that you've arbitrarily set yourself. And all of a sudden, 99% of the time that you're working on this goal, you're going to be unhappy. So what's the alternative here? The alternative is having goals, but keeping them at a distance. Realizing that, yes, I want to write a book, but if there's no, crazy pressure to have it done and executed by this date, then taking your time with it. Chances are if you're writing a book, you enjoy the act of writing. So do that. Enjoy the act of writing. And in so doing, you'll enjoy the journey, you'll enjoy the destination, and you'll enjoy the launch pad on that 100th day where you can go and find the next goal and derive even more meaning from there. You need to be able to take every negative event as an opportunity to practice resilience. A lot of people who are focused on personal growth obsess over finding these opportunities, but for the most part, they will come to you naturally. You'll have negative events come to you where someone disrespects you at work. Your car might break down, your drum kit might break down in the middle of a performance, whatever it may be. And in these opportunities, yes, they're not great. Yes, you're going to feel very upset, very angry. And after you've processed those emotions, treating them as an opportunity to practice resilience, practice stoicism, practice realizing that, okay, I can still be happy in the face of such a, not a great event, then you'll be flying. You'll be more than fine. You'll be laughing in the face of the devil, and it's something that's tremendous in terms of personal growth. And if you can get that down in your 20s, your 30s and 40s, you'll be unstoppable. And I suppose the last piece of advice I have for you is quite a funny one, actually. My partner always, she laughs, but then there's a fair amount of truth in it. And the piece of advice I had for you is a problem on a full stomach is a problem halved. So for me, I know whenever I do have a problem in my life, if I'm hungry, it'll make the problem just feel insurmountable. And you can interchange that for whatever you find more important in your life. If going to the gym or having a good night's sleep beforehand will make your positive outlook more prominent when it comes to a negative event, then you embrace that. You realize that, okay, something's happened, but I haven't had a good night's sleep, I haven't gone to the gym, and I've barely eaten all day. Let me go and address those things first, and let me come back to the problem fresh. And I guarantee you'll come back to that problem and it'll feel immensely easier. The load will be immensely easier. And it's such a simple piece of advice, but it's something that it's the simple pieces of advice that we all know that we don't all practice. And if we did, I feel like our lives would naturally be a bit better. So if you're hungry, eat and then solve the damn problem. The last thing I did want to touch on, I suppose, is realizing that one YouTube video isn't going to transform you. You're not going to get to the end of this clip and realize, okay, now I'm the happiest person ever. Now, okay, all of my problems are solved. Happiness is very much a skill. It's something you can practice. It's something that you can refine. It's something that you can always make better and better and better in the face of negative circumstances. Taking accountability and treating happiness as a skill will serve you incredibly well, because you'll be able to realize that in the hard moments where, everything's hit the fan and, everyone's against you, or you feel disrespected or insulted, whatever it may be, you treat that as an opportunity to build up your resilience, to build up your happiness tolerance. And if you can smile and you can find joy in those moments, then you'll know for certain in your heart that when you get out of that circumstance, because every circumstance is temporary, that you'll be so much better off. And when you do feel happy, proper happiness again, you'll realize how far you've come, how much you've grown, and that's it. It's literally as simple as that. That's why my sign off for videos is just be happy. That's it. Because it's literally that. There's no hidden meaning. It's just, you read it as you see it. Just be happy. That's it. It's not hard. It's something you can practice. And it's something that if you do practice and refine, you'll get better at. So this has been the Quarter Life Baker. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make a lemon tart as well. That's it. Just be happy. It's that simple.